do bring a different spin to leadership is that we in Guyana sometimes consider bosses to be leaders versus leaders worth following. And this is a concept that was taught to me quite a while ago, that it makes no sense you forcing yourself upon those who have placed their faith in you, those who have that loyalty. The video we just saw, we saw the importance of loyalty. And it is for the leaders among us to really make sure that they transform themselves into leaders worth following. And this is, of course, what we at ActionCOACH are very passionate about. We do want to grow Guyana's economy. That is our vision. That is what we are focused on every single day. But we can only do so by developing leaders. One of the key things is that when we have bosses, bosses many times act like dictators. They know it all. They don't see the value of the team. Whereas a real leader, a leader who values their team, will always look for the potential and the ideas that reside within his team. He creates that environment to further develop that, and he always listens first. A boss gives an order and has no time for listening. And that is the biggest difference that you would usually come across. Bosses also always work on the past. This is what's worked well in the past. Leaders are very future-oriented. Where are we going? And they realize that they can't do it themselves. Bosses have a tendency to push their team aside, push their employees aside, pull open the Superman sign, and go do it themselves. Whereas leaders make sure that they develop the skills in their team in order for them not to be needed all the time. You know, one of the key things that really makes for a good team is when the leader doesn't need to be around. When a leader doesn't have to show up and the team is there, capable enough because they've been cultivated in that way by a leader worth following. Well, you see with leaders, right? Leaders and managers, they derive their power from two particular sources. They derive it from either being in a particular position or by the person they're becoming or have become. When it comes to them really using their position, and I think we have some material that we'll put up a bit later as well, they really get it from three sources. First of all, the actual position where they're able to reward people. So if an order came down, my subordinate has to listen to me, or else they get what? They get a warning letter, they get a verbal warning. We might even threaten them with firing, which brings us to coercion, actually, you know, the punishment that we can dish out. So their power of legitimacy. So whatever the position is that they are in, they also use their power of coercion, which is the punishment that they can dish out. And they also use their power of reward. Well, if you do this, I will give you this benefit. What happens, though, is that that will only get you so far. Because if I just have to listen to Kirk because he's my boss, then as soon as I don't have to listen to you anymore, that's history. If your reward or your punishment is taken away from you, you no longer have that particular power. What I believe is much more important for leaders and people in any position of influence that they really need to work on is the power of their own personality. And the two main powers when it comes to that are the powers of expertise and the powers of reference. Now, expertise is built up by special knowledge about a particular area, but reference is, you know, do people like you? Can people actually work with you? Do they respect you? And that generally takes time. I'm more of a proponent. I have a bias towards the power of expertise, expert power. That takes a long time. It takes a lot of investment for a leader to develop the power of expertise. They have to constantly invest in themselves and become that vessel of information, of expertise that they can then use to empower others. The power of reference, you can have your neighbor, you know, very good friend, you've known him for a very long time, and you like him, you have some amount of reference for him, but when you have to educate your children, when you have to educate them, would you rather a teacher who you may not know, you might not even like this teacher, but you know that teacher has the power of expertise? You know, you will rather choose someone who has a level of expertise versus someone who you revere. So it is a key distinction. A lot of people in our society when they understand position power and what they can do with that, and they turn their attention to the power of the portion, they start focusing so heavily on making people like them. And they don't focus enough on making sure that they continue building value within, because if you don't have value on the inside, there's not much that you can transfer to other people.